Can I disturb you, Jasper? What about the accounts used in the previous session? Are they still active for the students? Can they use the same or what? No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They are active. They are active. Actually, we are repeating the session for the new teams. Those are completely new, sir.
Okay.
I will just, if I can just add in one point,
Yes, Ms.
if
Kaur.
you didn't attend the meeting we had for the previous coaches, just stay on until we discuss the usernames, because it's important. If your students, most of the students in the preseason registered their usernames incorrectly. Your team, all the members of your team need to have the same format for their usernames. And Jasper is going to go into that right now. So just take note of that. And if you need to edit any of the usernames for those students that were involved in the preseason, then we ask you to do that before you submit the team roster. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Kaula. So we are here. So I'm gonna myself log in here. So here I'm gonna give Jasper. So as you can see, my name is already in use. Okay, so I'm gonna create one default name. So I'm going to type DAFAULT default underscore team underscore school Atlab. So the username is nothing but the default will be my name, the team will be my team name, and the Atlab will be the school name. So I suggest you all to use this format. So first will be your name, I mean the participant's name. Second will be the team name. If you do have a team name, please mention it here. And finally, the school name. Suppose in case like if your school name is really long, I request you all to shrink your school name like MOE like that. So moving on, let's create a password. There you go. So now I'm going to click next. So it's asking how old are you? I'm going to click never here. Yes. So in this case, I'm going to assume myself as a student because you coaches are going to register your students, right? So I'm going to assume myself as a student. So my age is going to be 9. So then it's going to ask for a grade. So I'm going to click 5th grade, parent name, guardian name. So I'm going to give like a default name, WESLEY, and the email. So I'm going to give my email ID. There you go. So, and then click anonymous login. There you go. So here we have the package ready. So these are the machines which is open for me right now. So if you click next activity, it would go for the next mission pack. Just give me a minute. So I'm going to click accept.
While you are waiting for this, Jasper, I just want to ask you, what is the way that how the students are being rated? What is the mechanism or the logic?
Am I talking to Mr.
So
Ajit?
the rubric
Yes.
on Saturday is the kickoff event, Saturday morning at 10. And this is the time when we will discuss exactly what will happen in the competition. as well as the rubric. And then on Saturday also, all registered coaches will get all of that information sent to them along with the rubrics in written form. So you'll have all of that. Then we also have in the timetable for the competition, you'll see their weekly genius hours, specifically for coaches, which will be manned by us. And so you're welcome to come in at any of those times and discuss any particulars. Today's are really focused solely on ensuring that all of the students get registered onto the platform correctly, because that's our first big hurdle. Once we get this done correctly, the rest will be smooth sailing.
No worries.
Sure.
Yes.
Which Saturday is it? This Saturday, coming Saturday?
Yes, it's on the main timetable, and you'll be getting a link tomorrow for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So in case, like by mistake, if you didn't give your username properly in the beginning, so here we have a chance to change our usernames, which is over here. So the participants who have registered before, I'm not talking about the new participants, those who have registered already, and if you have given the improper username, so I'm going to click this area, top right corner, and then click account. And here, if you click edit, you'll be able to change your username right here. So here it says first name and then last name. So here you can edit it and then give your correct username over here in correct format and then click save changes. So here I'm going to select all this and then click Jasper. Okay. Underscore special character not allowed. And then I'm going to give my team. So it also says like maximum 10 characters allowed. So if you're not able to change your username, so in the beginning it's asking us to give a username, right? So that is the place where you can use underscore. So if you miss that, you won't be able to use underscores over here. Okay, so here in the place of underscore, I'm just leaving a space, and then I'm going to remove M so that it fits of 10 characters. And the last name, I'm going to give my school name. So my school name will be Atlab. Okay, so here the format is Jasper, my name, space, T, my team name, and then in the last name, I'm going to give it as my school name. So if you click Save Changes, you can see your changes over here. So this is the most important part, because so with the help of this username, so the organizer will be able to track where this participant really stands in the list, like how many missions he has completed, like where he stands in the list, everything. So this is the most important point. So everyone, Miss Koala, she would have sent you a spreadsheet, so where you have to fill the usernames of your students. So I request you all to fill your usernames like here, as I have mentioned. So Jasper underscore or space T underscore or space and then school name. So this is how it's going to be. So I hope like I'm going to click next activity, and then I'm going to show you how to track your student score. I'm going to click coders and then click scoreboard. And here it shows the scoreboard, like where I'm standing. So if I scroll all the way down, it will show like where I stand. So it's over here. So I stand over here in 80th position. This is my username. So as I told you, the username matters. Okay, I won't be able to see others. I will be able to see only me. So my username, Jasper underscore T, and then my school, and then these are the points and how many missions I have completed, and then how much time I took, everything. So the atoms, everything. So the software calculates on itself. So I'm going to stop over here and then ask you the questions. Like if you have any other questions, you can ask me. I can help you with it.
Yeah, Mr. Jasper, can I go? I'm Uday Prakash.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Yeah. The registration process for students, who does? We create a password. I mean, we create a login username, and coaches will create. We register them, or we should give it to student and they themselves register it. I'm not clear.
Oh, okay, I can take this one actually if you want, Jasper. You can do it either way in theory. You can give it to your students or you can do it for them. What we suggest is that you go ahead, maybe set up your first team meeting and
Okay.
walk them through it to make sure that it's all done correctly. Because the expectation is next week. So the kickoff event happens on Saturday. And that's when, the masters of the platform Atlab, aka Jasper, will unlock the missions and they can start to train together as a team. And then Jasper and I will start meeting with the Coder Z teams on the 16th to do training. Now it's very, very important that, by the 16th, they are all active and correctly registered on the platform. So we ask that you all take this time this week to ensure that they are on the platform. When I receive the team roster from you, my expectation is that you've ensured that they are all active on the platform with this information. So my suggestion would be that you call a team meeting and walk them through it, just to make sure.
Okay. So registration process, I mean, then even a coaches can do. You will give a generic password and later password students change by themselves.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, could I just ask a question as well, please? Sorry, I'm a bit unclear. For the logins and the usernames that I'm setting up, is it one username for the team, or is it individual ones for each child within the team?
Individual. So in other words, if you have three, so the link, the activation link is the same, but each person that activates that then ticks off, our allotted license keys. So we ask that you just make sure that you use only one per student.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the, yeah. So are there any other questions regarding, yes, Ahmed?
Yes, we have one question. Are coaches expected to register as well, or just the students participating?
No, sorry. In the very beginning, I think some of you were still coming in from the waiting room. We mentioned that, so everybody who's a registered coach will be activated as a teacher. So all the registration has been confirmed as of today, and the list of registered coaches will go to Atlab this evening, and they'll begin to set up teacher access. Now, and then that will be available to you. And it's very important that you use the teacher access and not register, because if you register, you're not going to be able to see what your students are doing. Okay, so you'll go in like a team member, and you'll end up on the leaderboard, and you also will not have any visibility of your students. With the teacher access that we're going to be providing you, when you log in, you'll be able to have an overview. And Jasper, could you just maybe speak for just a couple of minutes about the teacher access so people understand how that works?
Yeah, sure, Ms. Kola. I think you have covered the most of the things. Yeah, as Ms. Kola said, if you do register with the help of this link, which is in the chat box, you won't be able to track your students. So the teacher access gives you a control of your students, where do they stand. For example, if the students are from school name, for example, ABC, so you will be able to see the performances of the students who are from ABC. So that's how it's gonna be. So I request you all to not use this link. I'm talking about the coaches and then the mentors. So other than that, everything is fine.
just to translate that, تسجيل الأستاذ لا يتم عن طريق الرابط اللي تم إرساله. إحنا وصلتنا قائمة بالأساتذة أو المشرفين على الفرق، بنعطيهم حساب ويوزر نيم لمتابعة أداء فريقهم. إذا سجلتوا الحين على الرابط ما بيكون عندكم أكسس أن تشوفوا الطلبة في مدرستكم كم نقطة عندهم وإلى آخره. فاليوم إن شاء الله بنرسل يوزر نيم للمدرسين يعطيهم قدرة أكثر كأدمن إنه يشوف باقي الطلبة في المدرسة كيف كم نقطة جمعوا، كم أنجزوا من المشروع. ففقط التسجيل للطلبة.
Okay, so are there any more questions about the teacher's access? Because we want to make sure that you're all, you know, clear on that. So you don't need to do anything. We're going to handle that on our end.
Hi, I have a different question.
Sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to double check, when you go through the registration process, it asks for a parent guardian email, but is it okay if we just give your email at that point?
We did not ask for a parent guardian email.
It was there just as
I'm sorry, on the platform. Yeah, sorry. So Jasper, they can enter their email as the coach, correct?
Yes, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Carla. Thank you very much, and thank you for your team also.
Now,
I just have
go ahead.
A really quick question. Sorry, Carla.
Sure.
Thank you very much for clearing up the requirements for the username. However, what about the team name? Does that have any requirements? Would you like us to? Because I know that we can change it on this Excel document at the moment. It has to be in for a couple of days, but. Is there any requirements for the team name?
No, we actually don't want you to change your team name. What you might need to do though is for the purpose of creating a username, you may want to shorten it a bit to be able to stay within that 20 alphanumeric characters. So if you're like the ADNOC wizard,
charter schools,
school, just drop something off of that and shorten it. We just want that to be consistent.
Got you. No problem.
Across. And you know, you can even use acronyms if you want charter school to be CS, like this. Something that's consistent across your team and that we can then, you know, begin to recognize. The main thing is that we can track teams together. And that we have all the information, because in the preseason, honestly, it was very sad because we really did have a number of students that were active on the platforms that we were then unable to trace back to a student. And we don't want that to happen. And obviously we have a lot more students on the platform now. Okay, so let's take any more questions. Before we leave though, I want everyone to stay until we're just able to look at the team roster so that everyone is clear on what you need to complete in that this week. So now, but any other questions for Jasper or myself or for Ahmed? Sure. Basma?
Sorry, I forget today. It was the workshop. I was at the school and I think I am late.
Well, Basma, we have recorded this, so I can send you the recording. If you have a specific question, we can go through it or perhaps meet with you separately. You've received, so to give you a very, very, very quick recap, in the chat box, you will find the activation link. That is the link that you'll use to set up your students onto the CoderZ platform. It's very, very important that you follow all the directions for setting up the usernames. Okay, this is incredibly important. It is in written form in the overview document that we provided for you. But this is really, really important. So you can register your students yourself using their school emails, create a username for them, create a simple password, and then give that to them to activate. We do advise that you meet with your students as like a first team meeting this week and ensure that they are all up on the platform and able and are active. So when you send us in the team roster, which has been provided to you, it has all your students' names, the team name, your name as a coach, and your school name. And the two rows or columns that are left for you are the student emails and their usernames. So when you return that to us completed, our expectation is that you are letting us know that you have ensured that all your students are active on the platform. It's very important that they're all registered on the platform before we begin training next week. Now, for yourself, everyone who's registered is going to be given teacher access. So please do not use the activation code for yourself. You will not have visibility of your students that way. Atlab, we've finalized registration as of today, and Atlab is receiving the list of all the registered coaches, and they will be providing teacher access through the emails that you registered with. So that's, a very, quick version of everything that we went over today. And I will send the recording to you so you can watch Jasper actually go through the registration process on the screen. Are there any questions or clarifications that we need to do, or can I pull up the spreadsheet to go over?
Yes, I'm Udaya again. I have one more query.
Sure.
The Excel sheet which you returned to us to fill up certain more details, as one column has a Microsoft email thing. Is it really necessary? The registered Microsoft email ID. What is that? Why?
I apologize on that. It is not necessary for Coder Z, but it is necessary for the Virtual Robotics Toolkit. So so that is not necessary for the Coder Z. They can use a Gmail or a Yahoo, correct? Jasper, they can use any email.
Yes, Ms. Caller, you are right.
Okay, so that email ID to be filled in here while we return back this Excel sheet to you, right?
Yes, and again, it just needs to be the actual email that the students are using on the platform. So, some of you may have some of your teams that participated in the preseason. If they registered with a parent email or a sibling email or a personal email, that's absolutely fine, but please put that in here. This is not a contact form for us. It's a way for us to trace that student back if necessary on the platform. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, Ahmed.
Before you proceed to the roster, just let me translate what's happening. تم إرسال هذا الملف بالإيميل لجميع المدارس المشاركة. الهدف منه أن يتم إعادته قبل تاريخ 12 فبراير قبل 11 الصبح. 12 February, right خولة? is the deadline to send back. فالمدارس اللي ما بترسل الملف للأسف سيتم إقصائها. فتأكد من السبيلينج الاسم بالإنجليزي لأن احنا ترجمناه وسيتم إصدار الشهادات حسب الملف. فالمدارس اللي سلمت أسماء الطلبة بالعربي تأكدوا من الأسماء بالإنجليزي السبيلينج صحيح. تم ترجمة اسم الفريق بالإنجليزي. تأكدوا من أسماء المدرسة بالإنجليزي بعد. وعلى كل طالب أن تحطوا إيميله في الريجسترد مايكروسوفت إيميل. مو شرط يكون مايكروسوفت، ممكن يكون جيميل، ياهو إلى آخره في هذه المسابقة. وضيفوا اليوزر نيم حسب اللي راويناكم في أول الورشة اللي هو الاسم الأول _ اسم الفريق _ اسم المدرسة. كوبي بيست في اليوزر نيم ويتم إرساله على unified.robotics at specialolympics.ae قبل 12 فبراير. الحين أستاذة خولة بتاخذنا خلال الروستر. خولة go ahead.
Yeah, and all of the rosters are actually live. So if you edit them, the edit should come through unless you've downloaded it and taken it off the cloud. They're all our shared documents, so they will automatically update on our end. But I mean, obviously as a fail safe, it's great if you can email them back to us just to make sure. Yes, as Ahmed said for our Arabic speaking coaches today, we need this filled out by the 12th prior to the kickoff and prior to the first training that we'll have with the Coder Z kids, which will be on the 16th. And you'll receive that link this week, along with the link for the kickoff on Saturday. And again, the information we need is just the email address that they're actually using. Forget about Microsoft. That was my mistake. I apologize. And the username. We just need those two things filled in. If there is any information, these are literally copy pasted from what you registered your students on the registration form. But if for some reason, I mean, there have been a few that, you know, coaches have said were misspelled, you can go ahead and make those adjustments right here. There's no need to email in a correction. You can just simply correct it on the sheet. And that's really about it. Again, the Coder Z platform is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to navigate, shouldn't be too difficult. And again, the kickoff event will be on Saturday from 10 to 11. We will be giving out at that time all of the information that will be necessary for the competition. And we will have a live Q&A at the end of the kickoff event. And on Saturday, all of the coaches will receive all of the information that we'll discuss at the kickoff. So for example, the rubrics for how are your students actually going to be judged on the day of competition. That will be given to you in written form on Saturday. So your students, someone asked, do they have to be active by the 12th or the 16th? You need to set this up before the 12th. Okay, so they need to be, we need to know that they are actually active and able to access the platform. Because when we see them on the 16th, that meeting is for training. So our expectation is that they are all able to log in. In other words, that meeting on the 16th is not a help meeting for students in the sense that, you know, we're going to be able to walk individual students through any problem. When you send in this roster, you're essentially telling us, yes, I am, you know, vouching for all of my students being able to log on. Okay, we're asking you to do that for us this week so that when we begin working with them on the 16th, they're all up and we're able to actually work with them on the skills that they'll be using on the platforms. So I hope that's clear. Okay, we have
2 questions.
2 questions. Yes, go ahead.
Question, are coaches required to attend on Saturday? And when will students start attending workshops?
Okay, so on Saturday, we do ask that everybody attends because again, that is when we will present. First of all, I think Saturday is only going to be an hour. It's from 10 to 11. And I think it's going to be, we've tried to make it a bit of fun and motivating for the kids. So our big objectives on Saturday are to, you know, get the students excited, make them feel like they're part of, you know, something that's fun. They're going to see that it's not just them and a few of their classmates that maybe are working from their homes together or working in their bubble at school, that they're going to be able to see that these are, you know, more than 100 teams across the UAE. And I think that can be very motivating for them. We're also going to be giving out a lot of information. So I think it'll be very interesting for parents to be able to see that, as well as coaches. We will have a live Q&A at the end. So if there's anything that coaches or parents or students need help with at the end, will be available. We will be providing everything in a written form, but it's always better to hear it and be able to clarify things on the spot. And we really are dedicated. This is going to be contained within 1 hour, because we do know we've crammed a lot of information and inspiration into an hour. But we do ask that as many of you as possible, parents and students, all attend. In terms of working with students, again, this is all on your master timeline that's in the overview. And what you'll be receiving from us this week, along with the link for the kickoff, is a timeline now that has also links to all of the trainings and the Genius Hours. So for the students, for Coder Z, we have 2 sessions that we're going to be working with them on the 16th of February and the 2nd of March. And again, those are not just help sessions. That is where Jasper will be actually, having kind of a workshop with them for the first part of the hour. And then obviously we will have plenty of time for questions. But the purpose of that is really to help the kids, tackle the skills that they need and be confident working on the Coder Z platform. So as coaches, you should, your big focus is to ensure that the teams are meeting together and working together. But in those 2 sessions, we feel pretty confident that the students will be able to get the skills that they need to work on the platform. Any other questions? There are.
Hello?
Yes.
I would like to ask, you see our student laptops, we cannot download any program, or they cannot also do this.
Yeah, Ahmed has some updates on that. So he'll.
اوكي
استاذ بسمع، هذا البرنامج كودر زي مو مطلوب تسوي داونلود لاي شيء، فقط الرابط هو عباره عن موقع سيتفاعل عليه الطلبه. البرنامج الثاني ل 12 سنه وفوق اللي هو فيه برنامج اوكي، فالرابط انا بعث لك اياه في التليجرام جروب، هيكون فيه كود التفعيل للطلبه.
اوكي شكرا.
Okay. Yeah, again, the Coder Z platform is pretty straightforward. If any of you are working with the Virtual Robotics Toolkit teams, we're going to be meeting with the VRT coaches tomorrow. And that is a really important meeting because the secondary students, it's a bit more complex, and it does involve some downloads. So we want to make sure that all of your colleagues or yourselves, if you're coaching the secondary teams, to please make sure that you attend tomorrow so you can be part of the live discussion and question and answer. Okay, do we have any more questions? All right, is there anything, Ahmed or Jasper, you feel parting words?
Khawla, there's a question for can non-registered students attend the kickoff session?
Absolutely. The kickoff session is absolutely open. It's going to be streamed live. So, please have let your whole school know so that they can, come on and, see what their peers are involved in. Siblings are welcome. Families are welcome. Anyone is welcome at the kickoff event. Okay, one more. My students in grade 9, your students in grade 9, if they are registered for the virtual robotics toolkit, if they're registered in the 12 and up age category, then they will not use Coder Z, they will be using the virtual robotics toolkit. So it's possible, Besma, that you came to this meeting in error. Can you confirm which, how old your
Yes,
students are?
Basma اجتماعكم غدا. Basma is registered in the 12 plus VRT.
Okay, so Besma, I'm so sorry. You
غدا.
need to come tomorrow.
بسمة بكرة الساعة 3:30 إن شاء الله لل VRT Virtual Robotics Toolkit 3:30 مساء. بيتم إرسال الرابط.
Okay, no problem. Also, I will be with you now. No problem.
شكرا.
Yeah, it'll be the same group tomorrow, so you'll see us all here tomorrow.
Sorry, Carla, I have a question as well.
Sure.
I just want to make sure I'm doing it correctly because we registered when it first opened, and then so I just want to know if what Jasper had said, because I was in the last session too, and I just want to make sure it's correct. So when because we've already set up the account or the login names or the username, sorry, the usernames. So now we just go in and correct the first name and the last name. So the first name would be the kid's first name and then some like part of their team name, trying to fit it into there. And then the last name would be the school name.
Correct. And then the only thing you want to make sure is that your team, that all the teammates have the same format. So the only thing that will change between teammates is their first name.
Okay.
And the team, like whatever the abbreviation you use for the school and whatever abbreviation you use for the team will be consistent, because that is how we can recognize a team. We can easily recognize a team, and we can easily recognize, you know, if there's one student that's way ahead, we can easily figure out where are their teammates. If there's one student that's really lagging behind, we can easily recognize where are their teammates.
Okay. And then for the username though, we can't change that now, correct? So whatever we had originally.
No, the email, I think the email you cannot change. So the email, you just need to determine from the student which email they're using. So that's what I was saying before. If it's a parent or a sibling or a Yahoo or personal, it's fine. Just record that for us here in the registered email. But the username you can change.
Because when I go into what Jasper said on the upper right hand side, when you go into account, you can only change the first name, last name, and gender and password.
Exactly, but that will change your username. The only thing
it didn't change the username. I logged in with the original username that I first signed them up on.
Okay, this is we're into Jasper territory, so I'm gonna have to let him take over.
So that's why I've been really confused, because I went in and did what Jasper said, but the actual username to log in is still.
I see Jasper. He's doing something on his screen right now. He's gonna come to us in just a second. I know that look now from Jasper. That means he's like, wait, figuring it out for us.
Okay, I think I have to share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Miss Cora, yeah, thank you. Miss Charlene, so can you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so if you can see, like here the username. So this default _team and _Atlab, like this is the name which I gave in the beginning. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now when I click edit, we can change the username which is going to appear for the organizer to track. So I want you to change only these two. And while logging in, you're going to be using this one. I hope you got my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, because it changed it, but then when I actually went to log in, I had to use the original.
You can use the email ID if you want. So like I know like this is a bit confusing. So I suggest you to use email instead of username to log in.
I did
Okay.
see, the thing is they registered such a long time ago, and
Okay.
I'm trying
Okay.
not to go back to when they originally. Is there any way that on your end you can change what's on
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
We
that would
don't
make
have
things so much
access.
easier.
No, we don't have the access.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. We don't have the access of that. So all you can do is these. So you were saying like you don't have the usernames or else email ID of your students?
Yeah, because they were told to, well, I registered 2 of the students. The other 4, the parents did for them, whenever that was in October, November. And so
All right.
now I
Okay.
have to go back
Okay.
and try to figure out.
There should be a way. So we can track like there should be an email gone to the registered emails, like saying this is your child who's trying to register, like that. So with the help of those things, like we can track, or else we can find at least the username, at least the email ID. So no worries. I think like if you could share me your email ID, I can pass you some instructions, or else like give you some ideas like how to track.
Okay.
Yes, Ms.
Someone
Paula.
just asked about using school emails. Yes, and what a lot of the teachers are doing to make it simple is they're simply setting up. For Coder Z, this can work well. So they're using their ID, their school emails. They're going in, they're creating the username, and they're giving a 123 or whatever passcode. And then they're simply assigning that. So that is one way that you can do it. I think when we're talking about Gmail or Yahoo, we're really referring to some of the students who participated in the November preseason activation. And when they went in themselves, instead of using school emails, they used personal emails, and many of them did not follow the instructions for the user name. So now for all of the coaches with new teams, yes, we suggest that the students simply use their school emails. I hope that answers. Okay. Okay, so any other questions, generally speaking, or specific questions that we need Jasper to follow up on, since I'm not. All right, well then what I want to say is thank you very much for joining us. I know it is going to be, busy. As I've said in several meetings to the coaches, this is really the pain point of the whole competition, is ensuring that the students are up on the platform correctly. Once that happens, then everything else is really smooth sailing, and that's where the fun is. So I want to thank you in advance for working with us to get this all done in a short matter of time so we can kick off on the weekend. And then again, starting next week, we will be hosting weekly coaches Genius Hours. And again, those Genius Hours are not for students. So we ask that you not send your students to those meetings. Those are reserved for coaches. And any question can be brought to us. If it's about a rubric, if it's about a timing, if it's about anything, if it's a technical problem that you're facing, Jasper and I will be manning those Genius Hours, and any question you have, you can stay for the whole hour or you can pop in and ask your question and leave. The student training, coaches are welcome to attend that if they like. If you just want to learn some tips and tricks from Jasper here, you're welcome to join, but we really do encourage all of the students to attend those. It will really give them the chance to become very confident on the platform and be able to work hopefully very independently within their teams over the next 4 or 5 weeks. All right, so thank you again. One last question about the spreadsheets. If I am registering with my ID, well, you're not going to be registering with your ID. The activation link you will use, if you're going to set your students up on the platform, you will use their school ID that you have access to. I'm sorry, not their ID, their school email. So if I were going to set Ahmed up on the platform, I would use ahmed.samara@specialolympics.ae, and then I would go in, create a password like, XYZ, and then I would create a username for Ahmed that would be like AS_ greatest hits or great_ SOUAE. And then I would simply give Ahmed that information. I would say, Ahmed, this is the email, this is the password, and this is your ID. So you don't want to go in and register under your email. Does that make sense? So your spreadsheet should include a different email and a different username for each team member. Okay.
Any أسئلة? Any questions? Any questions? Anyone in Arabic?
Thank you all. Then thank you so much for joining, and I will be sending this recording out to all of the registered Coder Z coaches, so you will have that in your inbox by morning. And we look forward to seeing you all on Saturday. All right, thank you. And thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Jasper, for your time today. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Khawla. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Jasper.
All right, good night.
You all welcome.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Thank you.
You
Ustad
too.
Ahmed.
Bye-bye.